Right, morning, Al, 6D Diesels. You find me in the middle of a cold field in Wiltshire on a Thursday morning, leaning against a 42,000 mile Nissan Sunny. We always knew these are Europe, correct me if I'm wrong, because the Sunny I had before this was a much curvier looking thing. Having not been on the road since, I think the MOT runs out in 2006, and the tax disc is to 04-2005. This, I know the history of this, basically about, must be 7 or 8 years ago, the scrap man pulled in my yard with this hanging off the back of a lorry. We were like, ooh, Nissan Sunny Europe. So after a bit of haggling, I bought it, sat it in the yard, then my friend, who owns all this lot, bought it off me and sat it here. Now, I never put any time into getting it to start, and neither did he. So what we're going to do this morning, we're going to see if my top quality G-Reg 1989, registered 1st of August 1989, Nissan Sunny Europe, manual, cracks off. So what we'll do first is obviously the obligatory car-based tour. So 04-2005, a little bit of screen pillar. Wouldn't call that rust, I'd call that paint falling off. No visible ding. Well, actually that's a ding, but that's not a bad ding for a 1989 car. So, supplied by J. Spratt Motors of Wickham. She is the Sunny 4 L Premium. Look at that. It does seem to have a collection of spares for a Volvo in the boot, but we'll sort that out in a minute. So we'll go around here, same this side, we clamber on this lorry body. Pretty clean, bit of greenery. No, ooh, that's a bit of an old person dinger. That is, isn't it? Yeah, that might want a bit of salting. And there's a few sort of little rusty patches on the roof, but not like rusty through, just surface rusty. And someone has resculpted the aerial into the racing spec one. I'm not going to do it. You know, if you try to straighten one of these, it just snaps off, so I'm leaving that alone. Right, into the 90s again. So, look at them. They look like new. We've got, there's a bit of random foam floating around in there. I don't think that's all for this. Passenger seat is lovely. Look at that for some two-knobbage. I mean, you can tell when you're running base spec when they didn't even give you a cassette player. Windy windows. Headlining is clean. I would assume that the back seats, which are buried under 3 other sets of back seats, and some bits for 8. I don't know what that is. Oh, that is Volvo. Oh, look, it says Volvo in there. A collection of TV coax cables and some more Volvo bits. I don't know where they came from. Yeah, more Volvo bits. Anyone needs any Volvo bits, let me know. If you've spotted anything that you can't live without, I have a feeling this was in it when I got it. Parcel shelf. So, turn around and sit in the driver's, oh my god, right, driver's seat. So, mileage, there we go, 42,426.2 miles, which would, before anyone says it, no, it's not 142, there's a 0 in front of it, 0, see the 0? Yeah, there, that's a 0, not a 1. I mean, got the posh heater controls with the recirculation. We are a 5-speed manual. Call that was posh back in the day. I'm sure my first Nissan Sunny was only 4-speed. I'm not pulling the handbrake. Never pull the handbrake. Right, we have working keyage. That silly button that you had to press to get it out. So original, authentic Nissan key there. Out. I think the bonnet's popped anyway, but look at that. There's a cool speaker grills in the door. She's a bit minty, really. A bit of black tape, well, something falling off there, but the dash is good. Tell Japanese build quality, the rear view mirror is still attached and is not falling off the car. Oh, old boy aftermarket stick on mirror for the missus. That's not factory. Yeah, you can tell. Oh, there's a bit of nastiness going on there, and a bit of clean. That'll be all right. Right. So what we need to do now is we need to get out there, try not to get attacked by the remnants of a Corvair, and see what's under the bonnet, under the hood of power. Let's see what we've got here. Where is the doof? Oh, there's the doof for releasing the bonnet. No, that's not the doof for releasing the bonnet. It is. Just not pulling it, you muppet. Ooh. Right. Bonnet stay. So, carburetorage. Mechanical fuel pump. 4-cylinder. One would assume that's going to be like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, I would have said. But it looks pretty clean under here. I mean, mechanical clutch cable. She's like proper. Coil. We stand a chance here. None of that overflash posh injection stuff to seize up the rubbish fuel and knacker 'em, man. But it's pretty good in here. Strut tops are good. For a visible chassis number. Not that anyone needs that. So, why is it every car I seem to get at the moment that we get going has the wiper arms missing? I don't know why. The last Vauxhall, someone had taken the ones off the Vauxhall and thrown them in the boot. Yeah. Right. Let's have a look. Ooh. Oh, we got oil. Yeah. It's not bad. You can see through it. Like, it's not dead black nasty. Right. Coolant. So, all right on the oils. Oh, we are prim full of coolant. It's a bit nasty, but it's. I'm not tasting that. That's going to be vile. Right, that's definitely antifreeze coolant. Right, that's. No, that's not happening, is it? God Christ, no, that's definitely not happening. Brake fluid. Seeing as we are a timing chain based engine, I think what we're going to do, I'm going to go and throw a battery on this and just see if it turns over. I mean, might go and get a bar. Actually, let's go and get a bar and do things properly, and we're just going to see if we can roll it over instead of just jarring on it, because everyone will shout at me. Right, I'll go and get some gear. Brambles. Right. So we have assembled Toolage. Excuse the bright yellow, slightly manky looking jacket, but it's like the north face of the Andes up here is blinking cold. So what we're going to do, favourite bar. So I've had this bar 17 years. It's I reckon I can get on the water pump bolts just in here, and we'll see if we've got any. Have we got movement? Oh, yes, we have. Right. Let's see if we can get a revolution out of it. She's nice and free. Yes. That's half a revolution. Limited access. Not really much else you can get on here. Oh, yes. Right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much a full turn. But it's enough of a full turn for me anyway. We're going to call that good. Right, what we are going to need to check for is rodentage, aren't we? Check that our local little furry friends haven't decided that this was the best place in the world to live. So, let's see how you get the air filter off in this and sunny Europe. Look at them, they're quite posh, aren't they? Hinged and everything. Right, come on, off you come. Thank you. Don't break it. Oh, look at that. A vacuum line. It is a vacuum line. So, Now, right, no rodents. It's a bit manky, but it'll probably suffice. So, movement on a car. Hang on, let's not try and lose all these bits. Oh, look at that. Looks quite shiny. Right, we got any? We have. We've got accelerator pump and everything. Right, I think what a sensible man's going to do, seeing as we reckon, well, I know it's free, is if we throw some petroleum, let's just go full out. We're going to throw a battery on it, and we're going to throw some petroleum down the carburetor, get cranking on it, and see what happens. Right, so we have thrown the top quality battery, and you may notice this battery from the last time. This is the Lion one that came out of the Peugeot. We did charge it up and it seems to function. Right, we're going for fire test. Nope. No horrible amounts of sparking. Right. So I reckon that's one of those posh beam breaker distributors. So I've taken all that apart. I think what we do, as I said a minute ago, I think we're just going to have a little bit of a crank on it. You sit here, I'll go in there, and we'll see if it turns over using its starter motor. We'll leave pouring petroleum down the carburetor for a minute. Oh, right, this way round. Right, let's see what happens. Oh, we've got a full set of ignition lights, oil light, battery light, and it says the door's open. That would be fairly obvious because you can see the door's open. Right, let's see what happens. Well, that seems all right, doesn't it? Get some oil going round. It doesn't appear to have any description of choke, so that'll be automatic. Right. Well, that looks reasonably successful. I suppose a man really ought to take a fuel line off. I mean, what's in the tank's going to be nasty anyway, isn't it? I'm going to go freshen the petrol up a bit, because it is showing as having absolutely zilch in it, which may be a good thing. Attacked by me hood. And then we're just gonna go full He-Man on it, I think. It's too cold up here for too much faffing around. So I'm going to go and put some fuel in it, and then we're going to put some fuel down there, and we'll just see if anything happens. If that doesn't work, we're going to have to go for spark plugs, cleaning stuff. But let's just try it first. Right, so I'm going to have a go at now. I've repurposed my Wild Bean Cafe cup, nothing like a bit of recycling. And we're just going to tip a little bit of fuel. Ooh, quite a bit of fuel in there. And just see if it fires. Because if it fires, then we know the electrical system is good, and then we may have to faff around with the fuel system. But possibly being a Nissan, it may just crack off and run perfectly. You never know. What have I done with the key? Is the key back in there? Yes. Right, here goes nothing. Oh, come on! Right, we'll call that a fairly sizable success. So what we need to do now is try and get it to pump some fuel. But I mean, that sounded all right, didn't it? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Where is the tank-based fuel line coming in? We've got a 10mm there to attempt to extract. Oh, look at that, Japanese quality. Over there with the other original fixings not to lose. How do I get that off? Does that come off? That comes off of there. So I might set that in there like that, stored. And then let's have a look to see if we can get any fuel out of it. Ooh, right. What are we reckoning on there? 8 mil? I would have said so. It's always a sign with Japanese cars, because that's all for that. They never used to like 13 mil nuts and bolts because they were unlucky, but they did always like 8s because they were lucky. So always get lots of 8s. You can always tell if someone's been messing around with the Japanese car if it's covered in 13 mil nuts and bolts, because most of them are 12. I think, well, that's what I've always found anyway. Ugh, come hither. Come on, Mr. Fuel Line. That's it. Right. Let's get cranking on it a bit more. See if we have actually got any fuel. I'm not going to be particularly hopeful. No, I think we might have a block fuel line there, don't you? Right. So there's definitely no petroleum coming out of there, is there? I love the way they didn't even rattle, did it? No knocking, no rattling, no coughing. It just cracks straight off. You see why the Africans used to export these things and drive them till they could be driven no more. Now, I reckon that's going to be fuel line in. Which is the most likely culprit for being, because we've got some sort of posh return fuel system going on here. So we've got a pipe in with a little plastic filter on, which we would assume was the one supplied from the tank in. Then we've got the one out to the car bearing, like an over return to the tank once the bowl was filled up and you didn't need quite that much fuel. And that's really annoying. Can we get rid of it? Oh, maybe not. Let's just tuck that down there out of the way a minute. Now, can we blow back to the tank? Oh, yeah, may lie our problem. What we are going to need is an airline, which we haven't got. So I reckon best bet is going to be a temporary fuel supply until we can get it out of here and get it somewhere to blow the tank back through. Sounds like a cunning plan to me, if I've ever had one of those. So what I'm thinking is we got fuel here in. So if I unhook that there, and then I unhook the return, which is here. Ooh. Alright, now that's got a posh little zip tie. We've got to love this sort of stuff. So there's a zip tie around here. But it's one of them zip ties just unlockable. So you can use it again. You don't get them anymore, do you? Oh, wasteful world that we are these days. Right, so I'll take that off of there. May have to sacrifice the white non-movable zip tie around the little fuel filter. Anyway, so I poured 20 quid's worth of petrol in it. It was probably a complete waste of time. We'll replace that later. And what we need to do is find a small suitable fuel container to attempt getting it running. Will that come off of there? Yep, that will come off of that. And this one will come off of there. Otherwise, that's perfect. Right, I'm going to go and find a container. Right, so we've been off and had a route round and found a suitable fuel vessel. So what we're going to do now is go over here and transfer some petroleum into this. We need to find a suitable place to wedge it now. So it doesn't fall over, catch fire, kill me. What do we think? Oh yes, I mean that. Look at that. Right, so one of them in there. And if we put this, which is the like overpressure returning bit in there as well. Can we get them both in there? Oh, we can. Look at that. Right, so we've got our fire resistant safety fuel cell fitted. Let's go and crank on it a bit and see if it'll actually pump any petrol. Oh, God, I wish this lovely body wasn't here. Go and tip a bit of petrol down its neck again. There's me wild bean cafe cup. There she is. Right. Let's see if that... Oh, that's quite a lot of fuel. You're obviously assuming that both of those lines are in my fuel tank, aren't they? Right. Third time lucky. Right, so what we got current then is it now appears to be lifting fuel, but it's pumping fuel to here, it's returning fuel back to there, but I think we've got a bit of a float stuck in here somewhere. So before we go and tear the top off the carburetor, break a gasket that no one will have, we're going to use the technical tappy whilst running trick. So I've poured some more fuel down its carburetor. And we'll just sit here and revitalise the carburetor. You can hear it coming and Ooh. Now I reckon, I think that's working. Right, so after 20 minutes or so of faffing around with the fuel system, I think the line to the tank is a little bit gunged up. I managed to blow back through it and it is now running off its own fuel tank. And it is filling its little fuel window up down there, mind me tags. And so, that ain't bad. What's that? 2006, 16, that's 10 years. So, what are we? We're looking at 16 or 17 years of not being on the road. Got to love a Nissan, haven't you? Right, so we're sat here ticking over. We appear to be alternator. Not the alternator's not working. For the man that likes the horns. Look at that. We've got indicators. Yep. Lights. Yep. Won't try the wipers thing. It's making noise, but there ain't no wipers on it. Hang on a minute. Whoa! Got, yep, mouse poop. Mouse poop and heat. I've tuned the radio in to radio 2. We're just going to go for a little blast. Official figures. Yep, she's working. So, first gear. We can't go very fast because we've got a dead Citroen XM, as you'll see, stuck just behind us and it won't go. That's next on the list. So, does she go forwards? Yes, she does. Look at that. It's going to cut out on me. Yeah, that moves. All right, we've got any reversige. Yeah, we've got both directions. A bit sunk in. We've got brakes. Well, really good brakes. Not pulling the handbrake on. Don't pull the handbrake on. So, yeah. Right. I think we'll call that a day on this one. Normally, I'd drive it out, but until I move... where is she? The big black pig that's stuck there. We ain't going nowhere. Right, so we're alive, running, moving. Sadly, I would drive it out of here, but I've got a dead Citroen XM behind me, so I'm going to have to spend a bit of time getting that done, and I won't get to that for a week or so. So what we'll do next time, we'll get this out, load it on a lorry as normal, drag it to mine, wash it, sort the fuel tank out, give it a bit of a tune, find out where the exhaust has fell off to, and then it's an eBay job. Save it sitting here and rotting out. We'll give you a tour of the underside of it, as we always do, and then she can be waved off. Al, 60 Diesels. Like, tag, subscribe, share, follow, all that sort of stuff. And thank you very much.